Going on, Jeromes. Time for the weekly Q&A session. We got some Vikings. We got some life. We got a little bit of everything. Let's dive on in. Kyle Engstrom went to my first Vikings game in Minnesota when they played the Cardinals. Drove 14 hours from Erie, Pennsylvania. Woo! Squad drive, man. All I wanted to say is our fan base is amazing and the Jerome community is the best. Keep it up, Skull. That's right, boy. If you're a Vikings fan, haven't been to U.S. Bank Stadium on game day, it gets loud, it gets proud. Like when the Gallahan gets going, bum, Skull. That's right. Yeah, best home field advantage in the National Football League. Also, fantastic trip, man. Heil Hungro of Hadar. Sure. What has been the most surprising, interesting thing this season compared to how you felt after preseason? With this team or in the NFL? In the NFL, it's probably the Seahawks. But with this team, I think that we knew Darisaw was going to be good. We knew the defense was going to be opportunistic. Probably play special teams. I think Matt Daniels overall has them playing extremely well. Let's see what else here. Probably the fact that they're strategy-wise, they should probably still be a primarily running team. Like Dalvin Cook, I mean, had a couple slow games, but he's been the straw that stirs the drink last couple games. Something like that. Let's hear. Mr. Rain and Fire. Do you think Adam Thielen has lost a step? I love him, but he has been getting less separation, and even Kirko has been off throwing to him by 1 or 2 feet. Also, the Hockenson trade was exactly what his team needed. Hockenson trade, yes. Thielen, yes. Yes, but it's sort of like the Harrison Smith we saw last year had lost a step. Eric Kendricks, maybe a half a step. Patrick Peterson, maybe he lost a step last year, but he certainly found it this year. But it's not necessarily... It's not necessarily a hater thing to say because Father Time is undefeated unless you're Tom Brady. But especially where it's so where speed is at such a premium at receiver, and Thielen has had great speed. He's one of the best route runners in the National Football League. But you're right, he's not getting that separation that he used to, right? But of course, you can still be productive, and he's shown that he can still be that guy. I mean, Larry Fitzgerald was never a burner to begin with, and at the end of his career, he basically just turned into a power forward working on the slot. All right, so Thielen, maybe it's time for a reinvention of the way that he's going to play out the last couple of years of his career, but we'll see. I still love him, and he still can be productive, but he's not, 1,000-yard Adam Thielen from years past, even though he's on that pace now. Meat Sauce. Would you consider doing a full live stream during any games this year? You could try play-by-play calling, maybe just for the playoffs, return of Vike Flair. Woo! All right, so there's been various companies that have tried to do like alternate play-by-play. And we've even been approached by a couple of them. It's not really my thing. Also, so I don't mind doing the pregame, halftime, and postgame shows. But during the game, I kind of like just watching and kind of like sitting with my own thoughts, eating some chili. I don't think people want to see that on air. Eric Spink. What are your thoughts on Caleb Evans starting against the Bills? I'm excited for him, and I think that he'll rise to the occasion. I think Evans was one of the perfect draft picks where he played a ton of zone at Missouri, played a ton of zone at Tulsa as well. And since the Vikings are moving more to zone rather than man, he's been fantastic. And also the best ability is availability. And Booth has simply just missed time, and Evans hasn't missed those snaps, and he's looked impressive. So that's why he's ahead of Booth on the depth chart right now. And I think Evans does have an opportunity. He's got the length. He's got the physical ability to be a good man cornerback on top of being a good zone quarterback as well. So I think that he has a chance to be a future starter for the Vikings and a really good player. Michu Nation. I'm absolutely ridiculously hyped about the rise of Kirk Go, Jerome, Ezekiel, Move the Chains, artfully formerly known as blah, blah, blah. But what are your thoughts on the future with Cousins, even if and when he makes a serious run in January? Do we stay on with him until retirement? Hope blah, blah, blah. I think you can do both. I think that you can still have Kirk be your quarterback. And as he gets older in age, he hasn't necessarily had to drop off yet. So respect there. Also, Kirk is shredded, man. But you can still invest a draft pick into a quarterback of the future. And the Vikings have tried to do that before. Kellen Mond wasn't the answer. So now Kevin O'Connell and Kwesi have a chance to go find their own, especially since this is a pretty damn good quarterback class. There you go. Raleigh. Can we get a Ron Rodgers meme special? There is some amazing stuff out there, and I'd love to see your reaction to that. Yes. E.g. Rodgers. Mighty Strangebird. First, Keep up all the good work. I love your videos. Oh, so when people start off like that, the next line is usually an insult, but we'll see. If we do make the playoffs, what seed do you think we will place? Well, my hat says 1, but the head says probably 2. And I think that the Vikings may be pigeonholed into the 2 seed and have the NFC North division secured by weeks 15, 16. It may even be that early. And how far do you think we'll go into the postseason? It seems inevitable that it's going to be Vikings-Eagles NFC title game. It just does. So rematch, probably in Philly. We have a chance to exorcise the demons. That's right. Derek Baker. If Cousins plays a few more years for the Vikings, I think he will break some long-standing Vikings records. If he does, will he be remembered in the same light as Tarkenton, Culpepper, blah, blah, blah? Will he end up in the Ring of Honor? Why not? If he wins the Super Bowl, yes. If he doesn't, then I still think it will be, well, Tarkenton and Culpepper, they aren't even on the same tier. Like, Tarkenton is on a level by himself, and then you have guys like Tommy Kramer and Culpepper, etc. And then you got, I don't know, guys who did it for a couple of seasons or really 1 year. So you got Favre, and then you got Randall Cunningham, then you got Joe Cap, etc. But yeah, if Kirk, I think Kirk right now is probably in that Culpepper area, and it's not just cumulative stats, especially since it's a different game than it was decades ago, or even when Culpepper was in the league. But if he wins the Super Bowl, I mean, name the stadium after him. Don't care. Reptar. Vikes life. If you could do another YouTube channel, what would it be about? This may sound ridiculous, but sushi. I freaking love sushi, and every time we go to a new city, I always look and find out. So I always price out low, medium, and high in terms of sushi places, like the best of the best. Like, we're talking about omakase, we're talking about sushi chefs who don't speak English. We're talking about fish that was in Tokyo Harbor that morning and flown in. All right, so I love stuff like that. Also, I love, hole in the wall mom and pop sushi places, and also, of course, who doesn't love all you can eat Americanized sushi? It's they got cream cheese in there. But I love sushi. Maybe that will be the name of the channel. I love sushi. Vikes. There seem to be some recurring themes in the need to fix column each game. Which weaknesses do you think requires being addressed the most? I think that interior offensive line just getting their ish together. Yeah, I think that makes the most sense, because then Cousins will have time, and the passing game opens things up, and then of course running is going to be good to go. Defense, I think defense overall, you got to be happy with the changes that they made since the bye. I think they're really buckling down. It may just be getting used to the scheme, but they're trending in the right direction for sure. YC. Ballard passing on Darisaw in the draft is getting traction. What players we have passed on the last 2 drafts would you have picked? There's way too many of them. There's way too many revisionist history, just going back and taking a look at the tape and all that stuff. But let's pull one up. Let's see. Let's look at the Wiki 20. We'll do the 2021 draft. Why not? Of course, you could do this with every single draft forever and ever. Amen. Randy Travis style. All right. No, zoom in and enhance. There we go. All right. So the draft. I would have taken Micah Parsons. I'm just playing. All right, so the Vikings traded down from 14 with the Jets. They took AVT. AVT's a stud. Ended up being hurt this year. It's all good. Vikings traded down. Ooh, got us some Darisaw because the Raiders took Leatherwood. That's right. And then the Colts took what the Colts take? Oh, Kwity Paye. F-U, pay me. I love Kwity Paye in the draft, man. All right, so let's see the Vikings picks. I mean, the Vikings had a ton of picks in this draft. This is the Wyatt Davis draft. So is the Kellen Mond draft. All right, so Kellen Mond, well, before the season, you would have said Davis Mills, but maybe not so much anymore. See, I love the real deal with Lee McNeil. Loved him at NC State, man. Former running back. I would have taken him in a heartbeat. St. Just. Although, he's a little bit too grabby for my taste, although he did get away from it. Adebo. Josh Palmer. Yeah, Josh Palmer would have made sense. Chas, oh my God. Malcolm Kuntz, I always loved coming out of Buffalo. Let's see, Rodgers, maybe. Wyatt Davis. Kendrick Green's having a tough go of it in Pittsburgh. Oh, Nico makes sense. Oh, PJ too, that's right. Or maybe the Schwartz. We would have had some speed. Ben Cleveland's already on his way out, and Spencer Brown would have made sense. I would have kicked him into guard. Although that doesn't always work, does it? Ron Perkins. Kinkene taking him. Oh, Ramondre. Beasley. And Beasley's good to go there. Janarius. Yeah. Because you could honestly do this about every single draft, second guessing. But overall, even though, especially that third round last year, didn't quite work out except for PJ2. Vikings Nation. How do you think we'd be sitting record-wise if Zimmer was still the head coach? Would it be a repeat of losing all those one-score games? I think it would be about the same. I really do. Like, I don't think that it would be a 1-7 spot. I think with Zimmer, maybe 5-3, maybe 6-2, somewhere in there. Either way, still competitive. But I do like the way that Kevin Collins energized his team. David Ditter. Should we move Thielen to the slot? Yes. I think Thielen transitioning to a Larry Fitzgerald-esque end of his career would make a ton of sense. Krister Ingerbretson. If somehow Kirko suddenly disappeared, which other quarterback in the league right now do you think would be the best fit for the Vikings? I don't know, Jalen Hurts. There's something to be said about the mobile quarterback, man, because it is so frustrating. Those RPOs where it's like, damned if you do, damned if you don't. And, the way that they can just scramble on third down. I mean, it's tough. Like, I mean, if Kirko was gone, I mean, Lamar Jackson is a lot of fun, except his accuracy issues still bug me. Oh no, Mahomes is the obvious answer. There you go. But if you're talking about, like, realistically bringing someone else in, I don't even know, man. Almag Company. Why do you think the offense seems to be so jerky? Nah. We can be so hot for a drive or two and then stall for Is it Kevin Collins' play calling or execution? I think it's a little bit of both. And you've seen that the Vikings have done really good in terms of their scripted plays. They have a lull in the middle of the game usually, but get things together in the fourth quarter. So I think it's just about consistency. That's it. Also, can I get Skull for Big Head? I wake up almost every day to her watching the podcast. Thanks for your dedication to the Purple fans. Love. Hey, Big Head. Listen to your parents. Do good things. That's all. And also, cheer for a good football team. There you go. Vikings Nation. Any simple, cheap foods to cook as a college student that you recommend? Ramen is always the easy one, right? But if we're looking for some nutrition, so you can get the thing. I did a lot in college where you can get like these canned chicken breasts. They're really good. You can get them at like Aldi or whatever. They're pretty cheap, and they're a good way to add protein to any meal. It doesn't require any cooking. It's obviously fully cooked. So you can go down that route. And I don't know, like if you want to go frozen vegetables route, yes. Or something I did in college is just, obviously on a budget, but going down, so getting a couple apples, getting a couple zucchini squash, dicing everything's up. Also spinach goes and everything. So, I mean, if you want to be like sort of a meathead college kid, find yourself a cheap protein, but also one that you can digest. Protein powder, so you can put that in anything. You can put it in pancakes, you can put it in smoothies, so you can go a lot of routes there. But usually the things in terms of bringing down costs, it's going to be meat, it's going to be fresh produce, but there's certainly ways around that. And then also just in terms of convenience, simplicity, I mean, that's the way to go. So canned chicken, if you got a freezer, so this is not an ad, but so I got the Cook Any Day microwave dishes. I wish that these were around in college because it is so easy. Like if you like fish, it's very easy to microwave fish in there, and it comes out perfect. Like I was skeptical about microwave fish, but texture-wise, it's fantastic. You can cook ramen in there. You can cook basically anything you want. Steams vegetables perfectly. So I would get one of those as a college kid, and then just toss stuff in there. It's one pot, no muss, no fuss, and go from there. Also, rice. Buy a lot of rice. John Kramer. What were your season expectations during the offseason? Record prediction. I think we said, 11-6? Somewhere in there. Anywhere between second half collapse 2016? No. No. Destined to play the Eagles again, and this time we're going to win. Return of the Bomba Squad. What do you think of the Timberwolves season so far? I haven't really paid attention to it, but I did hear that they took the court with 4 players the other night. It's embarrassing, man. Also, I mean, you went all in this offseason. You traded everything for Gobert, and like, what the hell is happening? Jan Jamil, do you agree CD has been all-pro level? Yes. He has the back-to-back PFF teams of the week as well. Yes. I think Christian Darrisaw, objectively, like taking the names off the back of the jerseys in terms of like, legacy picks. I think that you could make a case that he's been the best left tackle in the NFL. Like him and Andrew Thomas, respect. Pride of the Giants, pride of Georgia. Been looking really good. Carmine, do you think we're going to see Diggs running out of the trenches talking up the Vikings? Nah. I think it's going to be a pretty cordial game. Sarah, will we see Booth on the field before the end of the season? Because it didn't end like Patrick Peterson, the Cardinals did. I mean, the Cardinals basically just didn't call him back and never gave the time of day to a Hall of Fame player. The Vikings gave Diggs what he wanted, like a trade out of town to Josh Allen and the Bills. So, I mean, what does he have to be bitter about? Will we see Booth on the field before the end of the season? Yes. Hadrian S. I've been substantially smaller Vikings content channels have sponsors. I've seen in almost every video. You have your Venmo online store, but I've seen sponsor from you. Are you opposed to them? Has a company contacted you for sponsorship? Sorry, it's so yeah, we get contacted a lot about sponsors, and we used to have sponsors back in the day, Blue Door Pub. But at a certain point, I was just like, I feel like it was taken away from what we wanted to do, and the thing that we started was this grassroots, because I started this channel and the content because I just wanted this type of content that wasn't really out there, and it feels weird when I plug our own online store, which I need to get an updated graphic for. Yeah, purpleftw.net. There you go, free shipping on anything. I don't know, so. It also has to be a good fit. Like I've been contacted by some sponsors on some companies that I don't necessarily believe in, and for you, the viewer, I never want to just like hawk a product for a couple of dollars that I don't believe in, that I don't use, and I'm like, yeah, hey, you should use this thing because they paid me money, as opposed to I actually believe in it. So, I mean, maybe not opposed to taking on future sponsors, but it has to be the perfect fit at the perfect time, and that hasn't come up yet. Also, I'm too expensive. Got him. Danny Becerra, how long will TJ be a Viking? Forever. I think at minimum they sign him to extension, like a 4 or 5 year extension. We'll see. Kyle Garver, who do you want to see the Vikings play in the Super Bowl? I would like to see the Bills. 0 for 4 versus 0 for 4. Someone's got to win. Of course, all the storylines with, like I said, Keenum-Diggs, Leslie, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Emily, or Chiefs, Super Bowl 4 payback. Will you organize a meetup a day before the home playoff game? Don't worry, I am not stalking you. My husband will be there too. But what if I want you to stalk me? Just playing. Maybe. We'll see. Producer Allie, take note. Get something together. Jonathan Z. If we beat the Bills, could they miss the playoffs because of being in a tight division and losses to divisional opponents? I believe they could. Let's take a look. AFC standings. All right, so AFC standings. Zoom in and enhance. All right, so looking at other wild cards. All right, so Jets have a head up in the head-to-head, leg up in the head-to-head. Same thing with the Dolphins against the Bills. So if they taper off, maybe look around. So you need 3 other wild card teams to surpass the Bills. So say the Jets win the division. Ooh, got to hang on my dangle. So Dolphins 1, Chargers 2. Bengals 3, maybe Patriots 4. So, I mean, there would be some contenders. I don't necessarily see it, but it is possible. Next up, let's see here. DHVF, favorite current Packers player? For me, it's Rashawn Gary, but that's just my Michigan bias. Jair Alexander. Jar reminds me so much of Antoine Winfield Jr. I loved him at Louisville. Like, I didn't care about size issues. I didn't care about injury history. I just loved him, and he's turned into one of the best corners in the league. Vikings Nation. Oh, also Elton Jenkins. Elton Jenkins is just a dude. I loved him at Mississippi State. If they just played him at center, he would be an all-pro center, except they got him playing out of position at right tackle, which is just so stupid. Vikings Nation, even though he's good there. Will Kirk ever get the respect he fully deserves from the national media haters? I think that if and when he wins a Super Bowl, they'll lean into it. It's sort of like the Kirko Chains thing. Everyone's embracing Cousins as like the lovable dork. And yeah, I think that the media is almost embracing him ironically, as it's like the new thing to do. So who knows? Miles, which toilet paper brand do you prefer? I'm a Quilted Northern fan. I don't have enough coin for the Charmin. All right, so we do the Amazon Prime like subscribe and save, which I highly recommend because get stuff that you use on a regular basis and get it every month or every other month, and you can save like 15%. It's pretty good. So we just get a case of Cottonelle every month, 2 cases if it's chili season. A quest for adventure. Do I stay in the frozen? All right. So the thing about nice toilet paper is either you get nice toilet paper or you use twice as much bad toilet paper, and then like the savings are a push, and it just doesn't work. Do I stay in the frozen tundra or make the move to Florida? Florida's gorgeous, man. A little bit humid, but whatever. Mark Williams, is Pearl Furlan your full-time job? If not, what is your profession? It is not. We get this question a lot, and sometimes it comes off as insulting. It's like, oh, do you do anything else? But no, we work in finance. Not as much as we used to, which is actually kind of nice. You used to work in day trading. Used to do some options trading, which really sucked balls. But no, just run a small. It's not Ozark. We'll put it that way. No, but just run a small investment firm. The friends and family sort of situation. Bennett Durham Klein. Mainly, I just watch my own portfolio. Let's be honest here. Bennett Durham Klein. Is there any other free agent except Odell that Kwesi could sign to give defenses problems to free up Jefferson? No one readily comes to mind. Like, there's no one else except for OBJ that I'm really championing the bit for at this point. Carl Gerbschmidt Sr. A while ago, you mentioned that in the past you dated a girl from North Branch. I think that you're in the southern suburbs. So how did you wind up with a lady from up there? Is in college? Yeah. Also, what are the odds that Kirko has a mouth grill before or during the playoffs? I think if the Vikings win a Super Bowl, he's getting a full-time grill and he's wearing it at the Super Bowl parade, and it's going to freeze to his teeth, and he'll have to have it surgically removed. Carter, what's Nebraska's football atmosphere like? I don't know. Never been to Lincoln. Chris Larson, Detroit style or Chicago style pizza for Vikings games? Now, I mean, people's default answer should be Chicago, or generally is Chicago, but Detroit pizza is really good. You see, I love the crust that you get on the outside, and yeah, you can get that to a degree with the Chicago style pizza as well. But it's just that crust that's almost like fried around the edge, which is really good. And also, there's just something about, all right, so it goes cheese, it goes sauce, it goes whatever. It's sort of the same thing with Chicago, but I feel like, you know, the squares and in the pan, Detroit style versus the pot pie sort of mini kiddie pool of basically lasagna. Nah, give me Detroit style, man. Eric Rose. Where does the season rank in terms of Vikings best team, Super Bowl contender? 09 Favre, AP 2017, the Minneapolis Miracle. This feels like a more sustainable 2017. Because at times in 2017, it felt like they were just holding things together with duct tape and baling wire. I mean, the defense was obviously one of the best in the league. This year's defense isn't as good as that year, but offensively, it was kind of helter-skelter, sort of Keenum just going out and just doing crazy things. I don't know, but it feels like this is a more sustainable 2017 team. Andrew Chavez. Are you putting any jelly beans on UFC 281? If so, who? Skull from Arizona. I might. I haven't quite decided yet. Haven't quite decided. We're going to see how weigh-ins go on Friday. Mike. I don't know if I can have two, but did you ever go Devil's Cave during your time at Winona State? I did not. I don't even know what that is. Is that something new? I don't know. 84 GOAT. Why is Minnesota still 7-8 yards away from the receiver? Those deep passes kill Minnesota. I don't know why Ed Dontel does not adjust the defense on that. I think they're trying to get pressure up front. and if the receiver catches the ball, someone comes up and makes a tackle right away. It's one of those spots where we'll give you the catch, we'll just rally and tackle you, which can work. Obviously, I don't really agree with. I prefer aggression out there. Ryan Linderbaum, what do you think about the O-line play? I think Darrisaw's playing at all-pro level. I think O'Neal has had some rough games, but he's still Brian friggin' O'Neal. I think Bradbury is playing the best ball of his career. I think Ezra had the worst game of his career on Sunday, but he'll bounce back. And Ed Ingram has been wildly inconsistent, but you can see flashes that he can be okay down the line, but right now he's clearly being picked on by defense coordinators. Jerry Stratka, can the Vikings hold or pass the ball, or can he run? I mean, it's Ryan Wright. You saw him throw a frozen rope on that fake punt. Yeah. Questions coming from Cuenca, Ecuador. Shout out down to Ecuador. Yeah, Ryan Wright can throw the ball, man. Yeah, high school quarterback. Let's go. Actually, it seems like every player in the league was a high school quarterback, even the linemen. iMovie King. Did you notice the stat from 2020 Chiefs having like 10 one-score games and winning all of them, but they throw the Vikings in trash, but they played... It's exactly what happened last week. So the Vikings win 20-17 on the road, overcoming a double-digit deficit, and they get pooped on because it's like, oh, it's the Commanders. But the Chiefs are at home in prime time against a rookie quarterback, and they have 9 straight possessions without a score, and then Mahomes comes back and is like, oh, Mahomes, oh, Lord. It's that. It's just media bias. Don't sweat it. Randomly generated. Thoughts on Pop-Tarts? I never really liked Pop-Tarts as a kid. I thought they were kind of gross. I was a toaster strudel kid. And also the savory toaster strudel. So you got like the bacon, egg, and cheese one. Woo! Those are fantastic, dude. Jonathan Z. Who gets Diggs' jersey after the game, Thielen or Jefferson for the jersey swap? I think it's got to be Thielen. I mean, they have so much history. They were such a dynamic duo for so long. Yeah, that just makes sense. If Tre'Davious White plays the Pride LSU, I think they would jersey swap LSU to LSU. I'm sorry. Favorite alcoholic beverage? Lately, it's been tequila. So yeah, like the hits, like Patron, and the recent one that I found is Código 1430. I think it's owned by George Strait, the country music legend, or he's invested in it, one of the two. But it's really, really good. Like the Código 1430 Blanco, it's probably the smoothest tequila I've ever had. It's really fantastic. I like Casamigos as well. I like Tremanos. All the celebrity tequilas. They're getting to me, man. Also, it's really interesting how tequila has really taken over because the aging time for tequila is pretty short. So you can start up a tequila company, like 5, 6, 7 years, something like that, pretty quick. Drew Wanzek, probably even quicker than that. As a father, do you want your kids to play football, and if so, what position? I want my son to be safety or wide receiver. He's only 2, but I mold him to a young hitman. So the kid on the way is also a boy, and also our middle kid, or soon to be middle kid, is 3, and he's a boy. The middle kid's gonna be smaller, but he's super fast and he's super aggro, so I could see him being a free safety. And then we already decided that this next kid coming up is gonna be a chunk. So Asians don't get very tall, so I could see him being like a sawed-off nose tackle or nose guard, just getting after it as a 1 tech. Or hell, maybe a 3 tech, maybe like an Aaron Donald type. I mean, Donald's not that tall, so we'll take that. But in terms of safety wise, I know there's a lot of parents that are very concerned about concussions and the safety and viability of playing football. This is the safest time to ever play football in the history of the sport. We're talking about the technology with the equipment. We're talking about the awareness of concussions and other injuries, and we're talking about the the rule modifications and everything. So. I'm okay with my kids playing football. I obviously want to start them off in touch or flag football to start. And if they like it, we can go from there for sure. Wild Bumby Lee. What Patrick Peterson plan to hold down Diggs and Davis? Key to us winning. Hit him. That's all. Rick, South Dakota. Going back 50 years of quarterbacks that left us burn bad. Bob Berry, Bob Lee, more. You more afraid of KCK if he starts? I'm actually, thanks. Well, we know that Keenum, we know what he can do, right? Although the Vikings did beat Case Keenum's ass in 2019, the Thursday night game. It was like 16-6. when Keenum was with the commies. It was the Keenum versus Cousins game, right? So it's going to be different this time around. He's got Diggs. He's got a much better team than when he was with Washington. So we'll see. We know the Vikings' track record against backup quarterbacks, man. A little Kirkio. Keyshawn Johnson has the Vikings number 7 in his rankings. Your thoughts? It's too low. What do the Vikings need to do to chug another Four Loko? The real ones, remember. Super Bowl victory, Four Loko going down on the post-game show. Zargoza 44. Do you like Metallica, Linkin Park, Slipknot? What kind of music do you enjoy? Metallica is up there. Certainly the GOATs. Linkin Park I loved in high school. It's kind of eclectic. So it's going from the recent ones. So got quite a bit into like classic rock. So I talk about So Caught Up in You. Oh, 38 Special. 38 Special. Harrison Hand, I miss you. So like 38 Special, Styx, and then Foo Fighters. It's really impressive when I call Foo Fighters classic rock now. That Seattle grunge scene was always really good. Gotten into country music quite a bit too. Like Neil Diamond, George Strait. Brooks and Dunn are really fantastic. Garth Brooks, unironically. And then rap, Biggie and Pac. What else do you need? Nipsey Hussle, R.I.P. Gotten into a lot of his stuff lately. It's really, really good. Really fantastic, man. But so I'm all over the place in terms of, like high school, like whiny punk rock emo stuff. So like Yellow Card, MXPX, Blink-182, Simple Plan, just like whiny stuff like that. It was just I want to find like 16-year-old me and kick his ass. Michael Brooks. At what point do we admit Ezra and Ingram need to be substituted for Chris Reed? We're not there yet, but it's getting close. Also, I think it'd be Schlutman off the bench first. Diego said, not a question per se, just statement. On this day, I realized why Max Kellerman isn't spotlight anymore with Stephen A, and rightfully so. This man's clearly a Vikings hater. Yeah. Max Kellerman is really good in boxing, but everything else, not so much. Matt Stirud. How old are you? Just curious. I turned 24 the other day, the first day after Halloween. Can I get a happy birthday? Skull to the ball. Happy belated birthday. I'm 36. Ben H. How does top Kirk Cousins chains of women in Buffalo? Cape and shin pads Spartan style. That would be pretty good. All the Borat. The thong is coming. Jack Reminger. Kirk Cousins is going to regret that this became a thing, by the way. Why was Tyler Johnson cut again? I don't know, man. He's a super talented kid. He's a good dude, and it just doesn't seem to be working wherever he goes. But he is back in Tampa. I think he's on the practice squad again. Mike, way too early offseason planning. What position should we target in free agency and the draft? CJ Ham is the best. Agree on CJ Ham. Good dude as well. Probably defensive interior. Edge rushers, because you can never have enough. Cornerback. Interior offensive line. Wide receiver, too. Max Abrams. Do you think we're real Super Bowl contenders now or after we beat the Bills? Yes and yes. Tim Wobble. Who wins in a game, 98 Vikings or 2002 Vikings? I think 98 Vikings, but it's going to be a shootout. Because I don't think the 98 Vikings defense stacks up to this year's defense. IDK. Do you have a job besides YouTube? Not in any way. Yes. Again, we get this question all the time, and sometimes it comes off as super condescending, kind of funny. Gavin Burns is water wet. Yes. Gavin Burns, pineapple on pizza. Yeesh. Yeah, you do you. This is America. You put whatever you want on pizza, man. Well, we already bastardized this Italian delicacy, so why not? Why not, man? That's it. That is the Q&A for this week. Thank you, everyone who submitted questions. Skull, production value.